And we are live. Welcome back, folks. It's another episode of Dynasty Mind. Today I'm going to make it short. It's a Monday, and I find myself to have a little time. I want to just formulate some of the concepts. I want to also get underway February. The month of February, I hope to bring in many of guests that will help us kind of continue to develop our dynasty mind, continue to just talk us through the process of what to do in the off season. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that football is over, because we have a lot of new things that are happening around. But before I continue on, welcome back. I have to say, my faithful companion, Papa, is here. And also, as what I do in any of my show, I want to just give credit, give kudos to my media favorite, Mina Kimes of ESPN. She's representing, she's doing well, and she's always there to just give these great drop these Twitter takes, and also her knowledge of football is vastly very something that I want to emulate at some point. But again, I'm more of the dynasty realm, I'm more of the fantasy football, and I hope to continue to bring that to our sort of bring that to something that we can talk about, something that we can share, that we can definitely have fun with, and just become a better dynasty football player. And this is a hobby. I'm not gonna lie. I shouldn't lie either, but it is also something that we can do for the time to take us away from all the stress of our lives. But let's dive into today. Let's talk about just what we have in store, and kind of go into detail about what might be some things that you can do during the off season if you are new to this dynasty world. Or maybe we can just venture into this new idea of expanding or spicing up your dynasty play, dynasty prowess, or maybe just even getting into this dynasty world, how that how it would sort of make it more fun for yourself, so you don't get stale. You know, you need to spice it up in relationships sometimes, and same thing for the fantasy football world. I'm sorry, I feel a little distracted because I'm trying to pull up some files, but let's get into it. Today I want to just kind of touch on a main topic before I present my typical stash candidates, and then I'm going to talk a little bit about this new AAF. What is it about? How am I involved in it this year? So let's just start with a concept, something that will hope that you take it just into your dynasty preparation, into your fantasy football preparation, but also maybe applying it a little bit to life. Now, for a lot of you, you probably know this concept given to us by, Dr. Renee Miller, maybe even if you read your DFS stuff by all the other writers out there, Danny Carter, one of my favorite to read on, JJ Zachariasen. They are all talking about this idea of bias, and a lot of times when it's presented, it definitely can be have a negative impact on your team building, on your team preparation, on your lineup setting, even in your DFS lineup construction. However, what I'm kind of just wanted to talk about is that bias is inherently neither neither evil nor good. It's just there. And today's episode, we're going to touch a little bit on the myth of being unbiased. It is our human nature that when we present with a character flaw or a nature that we don't want to own, that is not virtuous to pursue, that we want to disown it, that we want to say that, man, I want to get rid of this flaw characteristic, I want to get rid of an addiction maybe, or I want to get rid of my obsession, or I want to give up swearing. I don't know, many of you, I want to give up that. I am trying to actually work on that myself. But the idea of bias, I want to say, is not evil. It's not bad or good. It is just part of our human mind, human brain, because our brain can only hold so much capacity of information and recall. And when we have to make decisions, we have to kind of sort of inform our work. We sometimes rely on what we know, what has been presented to us, what might have worked, and then just make our brain function efficiently. What you do with that bias can have negative results, can have negative consequences, or even positive consequences. Let's not rule that out. So the idea that one can be unbiased, that one that thinks that they can look in film or look at statistics, look at numbers, look at analytics, look into skills, breaking down sections, reading on scouting reports, or even just breaking down all 22s, that if someone tells you that they have an unbiased eye or that they enter this unbiased, just know that this is a warning sign, this is a flag, because what they have done is they deny that they have a bias instead of allowing them to be more transparent that, hey, I have this bias. I have this idea because this is what I learned. This is what has been shown to be effective and successful and projected well to the future. And so I have a lean, I have a bent, I have a bias towards what might lead me to more successes than what not. So as a dynasty owner, as someone who plays fantasy football, and also maybe across different areas of your life, instead of trying to deny that you have biases or that you can approach anything unbiased, acknowledge it. Acknowledge that you have a bias. This will allow you as a person to kind of think on it. What might my blind spots be? Be transparent, be honest with yourself. And this is what it means. We have flaws. We are human. Studying this throughout my life in the counseling world, is also reading up on psychology kind of literature from Dr. Miller, you would know that it is more helpful for someone to be self-aware, to be more understanding that I have a certain flaw that I know that can pop up anytime I do an evaluation of something, that anytime I read a scouting report, or that I analyze a sort of a Twitter blurb, or watch on what I watch on film, or even how I think about models and statistics. Because everything, there is a hint of bias in there. It's just a matter of if you are able to acknowledge it, acknowledge that if I take this step, if I do it this way, these are some of the things that I will have to overlook. We cannot capture everything else. It's just not possible. You're either a deity or you are not even machines, okay? And not even machines can be unbiased. But the human nature is just to understand that. And with that in mind, you'll be able to spot, oh, this is what I missed, or this is what I did catch. So you want to be right for the right reason, and you want to be wrong for the right reason. You don't want to be wrong for the wrong reasons or right for the wrong reasons, which can happen a lot because we know that, oh, this guy is so amazing. Those scouting reports or those analysts or the number crunchers, they know nothing because I saw what I saw with this player, and damn, here it goes. He's having a great success. Well, think about it. What happens if this player suddenly have this 1 year blow up, and you only can focus on, oh, I got a hit on this guy, and I know that my process is right. Well, did you do your evaluation? Did you do your homework? I know a lot of us, myself included, don't have the time to do that, but we have to pay attention to why did a number point to a less of a chance of success, what might be some flaws that might creep up, and how do we just make better decisions, make better informed decisions. Do I want to keep this player? Do I want to continue to believe in this player? Or do I want to trade him away while this player is at its peak? Or do I want to trade for this player because it is there's a bounce back upcoming? So all of these things will make you a better fantasy player, will make you perhaps better decision maker in life, whether it's in your job, school, whether it's with relationships and whatnot. Understand bias is not evil, but telling yourself that you are unbiased, can lead to negative consequences. All right, so that's a little bit about bias for today. I know I get a little bit on this, but it's bound to happen. You're bound to see it on Twitter. This war, this great off-season pastime that people love to do is to debate analytics versus film watching, and nobody wants to meet at middle ground, and people claim that they are unbiased when they watch film, or that they're unbiased because the numbers never lie. Just know that everything there is a bias, and the less we try to acknowledge it, the more harm it can do to your credibility. That's all I'm saying. Okay. The next thing I want to talk about, what happened since our last episode, is we finalized National Signing Day. And why is this important? We're not even looking at these kids for another 3, 4, maybe 5 years. But I like it because it informs my developmental or Devy Dynasty. Guys, this is a different way of playing Dynasty. Maybe you are not as keen on going even super young. It's already taking a massive chance when you want to rely on a rookie in coming into the NFL. And then now we're trying to project to kids that are just entering college, and there's a lot of flaws and a lot of things that can go wrong, a lot of misses that can happen. Some kids come in knowing that they dominate in a college level, but they may not make the leap to the NFL level. Some kids come in having very little prowess, having very little positive said about them coming into college, but development takes place. They grow into their role either through necessity or they actually win their job outright, and then they enter the NFL and they become a star. So a lot of factors come into play, and I really enjoyed this. Enjoy this format of dynasty playing. I won't have it across all my dynasty, but having some of them is actually fun because it mixes in my fandom as a Miami Hurricanes, and I get to pay attention to the ACC. If I feel overwhelmed by all the Big Five conference and then all the Power Five and then all the FCS schools, I just focus on ACC and SEC because those are the two schools that are closest in my vicinity. There's more news around in the radio. There's more said about them. Some people can point them out, and I get to watch some of these things on broadcast. It's fun. It's all for fun. I don't want to be to put in capital in these kind of leagues, I tell you, because I am not that great at projecting that much forward. But I would be able to sort of just putting things to use, and it's fun to see these kids grow, see how my eyes or the stats will tell me that things might happen and they would grow forward. Wow, guys, I am just this is breaking news, and very often that happens, but I'll break news. Kareem Hunt has been signed by Cleveland Browns. Kareem Hunt signed by Cleveland. What does this mean for Nick Chubb? Well, Kareem might be suspended for a year, but going forward, well, Duke Johnson's probably value is like killed, and I have to type it to my league members. But Kareem Hunt will definitely hit, it might. I still believe in Nick Chubb. I think he's still the alpha of that backfield, but it is crazy that Nick Chubb's ceiling might be a little bit held back. Maybe not next year, but going forward, if the Browns decide to keep Kareem Hunt for future. Wow, this is just crazy stuff happening. But yeah, so again, off season's never a dull moment, right? You have to pay attention to these news. So get on your Twitter, get on your phone, get onto your leagues, and start doing what you need to do. So going back to the Devy leagues, some of the things that I do for preparation, just to pay attention, is to look into some of the names that are signed in National Signing Days, or what are the incoming ones, because I'm going as far back as the earliest periods, and I highlight names that I find interesting. Most notably, these are either names that were considering Miami. Of course, I'm following Miami very closely, or guys who are very good and play for schools that I do pay attention to. So this is my list. You can see the 2019 signees on this list. I have a tab for 2018, 2017, even starting on 2020 now. And all these names I just keep filing away. I don't need to know if they're good or not, but I file them away, and then I follow them throughout their 4-year or 3-year tenure at their respective colleges. Things change necessarily. Things, of course, they change, and sometimes you might hit a gem if you can remember this player is good, but circumstances force them to change schools, for circumstances didn't allow them to showcase their abilities, and maybe they can still hit it in the NFL. So that's the fun in Devy, kind of looking forward. But yeah, I keep a lot of names in mind. I try not to remember them all, and I'm still adding on to this 2019 list. You may not see some of the names of your favorite players, but a lot of times I just rely on local news, a local Twitter, and sort of going through Rivals or 265. Well, 274. Sorry, wait. In either case, all those sites that track high school. So if you're in love with this kind of format, I'm dedicating the whole February to talking about college, because in 2019 I will be putting so much effort in getting better at college fantasy football. So it brings together some of my two favorite things, and one of the leagues that I'm in is the Campus to Canton League. We actually have a college league. We play through it. We draft. It has a Devy feel to it, but we also want to win in that league. And then any players that are on our team can transition over to the NFL. And so that makes for an interesting format, right? And so you get to track your favorite player, you get to track your favorite schools, and try to get those players right before they become an NFL player, and maybe even a stud. I know that Shane P. Hallam was one that got on a lot of the players early, Saquon Barkley. I know Francis KF from DFF got on some of the Alabama players really early, maybe like an Amari Cooper, or was on Mark Ingram way before anyone know that they were good, because fandom and being able to track these, and the reward is massive, and you get to these players before everyone else know whether they are supposed to be good or not. Right. So that's a little bit about Devy. I'm hoping to invite some guests to talk about their process, and if you're interested, keep following, keep asking questions, and how we can improve your Devy Dynasty prowess. The next thing I want to talk about is the AAFF League. It is new. It is a different football. They say it's a developmental league, which looks like it, but the production is very good. I enjoyed the couple of games that I watched. Of course, I didn't watch all of them. I'm sort of busy on the side with LOL Esports, but just watching some of the games and joining a fantasy league, which is fantastic. They even have a fantasy league right now. I get to draft some of the names that I know, some of these names that I learned from Matt Wallman's RSP a long time ago, or some of these names that people were excited about that didn't make it in the NFL. Well, now we get to see them at the AAF, and that is another layer of fun, and we get more football. Who doesn't like more football? And so if you're interested, just hit me up. Let's talk about it. Scott Fish is one that's heavily involved in it. I'm in a league with a bunch of guys. We call ourselves the AAFAF. I think the AF stands for what kids use as F. But a lot of interesting guys that I get to meet. We have Waz, we have Hanmore from DFF, Andy Ferris, who big FSU fan, John Adams, Cheney, Pacific Scouting, his Devy prowess. We have Fake Pigskin owns Kyle Robert. We have Enad Haddad and Ron McLeese and the AFF Shane. So many people we still talking football. And it's February, guys. It's after the Super Bowl, and we're still talking football. We're still enjoying it. The quality is not bad, actually. It's actually good, I would say. It's not NFL great, but the production, the things putting together, the TV time, the lack of commercial, that one's a big one, and the speed of the game makes this for a high pace and more enjoyable game rather than the NFL's commercial, kickoff, commercial, pause, timeout, commercial. AAF just goes streamline as fast as they can. They eliminate a kickoff. There is no extra point. There's also a rush 5 members only, but the quality didn't suffer at all, and this is probably a very, very good sign for their inaugural opening week this past weekend. So if you're interested, just find out more. You get to draft Trent Richardson, guys. You get to have Ishmael Zamora. I don't think he's on the team, but right now you have names like Terrell Watson. Hilal's boy Terrell Watson. You have Jarrell Presley. You have Kenny Bell, who's back. and you don't have to have them in the NFL anymore. You get actually play them in the AF, and there's fantasy league going on. Things are a little bit crude right now as far as fantasy side goes, but I'm hoping it gets better, and I know for sure that it gets easier since we already have a precedence set for that. So go enjoy it, go figure it out, and just tap into the AFF and see if you like it or not. Just watch it. It's on Saturday, it's on Sunday, it's very quick. It's 2 games. You don't need to plan too much of your time. And again, very fun thing to watch. All right. In our last segment, let's talk a little bit about Stash Candidate as I've been going through it with you through this month or through this show. My first Stash Candidate is Judge Ito. You know, Judge Ito is not likely someone that might be on your waiver wire, but he's certainly gotten a little bit of a opportunity to play. At first glance, he didn't look amazing. He didn't really take advantage of his opportunity, so to speak. But he had a few short yardage touchdown. People get excited for his fantasy numbers at times. But with Tevin Coleman all but gone, likely gone, and Devontae Freeman haven't shown to be durable, you can do worse than Ito. And this is the best time to kind of get him, because people, when you mention Ito, they're really like, eh? They're likely more excited about the incoming rookies that they have absolutely no clue whether they're good or not. And they would rather have the rookie over Ito. If you get closer to the draft, maybe you can get a late first or maybe a late second just to acquire Ito. And I think it's very fair to say that Ito can't be as worse as an unknown. And opportunity is only going up, but nobody's thinking about it right now. All this, of course, is flat out moot if Falcons do decide to draft a running back. But at this time, I think Ito Smith is worth your while to acquire. The next one is Justin Watson. He didn't see a lot of contribution because Tampa Bay was a mess this past year, and there was a lot of wide receivers as well. But think about it. Now that Deshaun Jackson is just talking about how he wants to be gone, how he wants to move on to a different team, rising opportunity for Justin Watson. Of course, he still needs to beat out Adam Humphries. He still needs to beat out Mike Evans. He still needs, which I don't think it'll happen that he'll beat out Mike Evans or Chris Godwin for their role. But Humphries and Watson could be vying for a third wide receiver starting role. And when Humphries hit free agency, when he demands more money, Watson is still on his rookie contract. He has the ability to showcase. A lot of scouts are high on him. I am very intrigued, and again, I bring up that same point. People are more excited about the rookies than about these guys that they were sort of high on during last year's draft, and this type of cycle repeats itself. And so for someone who pays attention to year after year what the narratives, what the talks are, what the scouting reports say, what the analysts say, if it points to that a guy has the potential to be a good wide receiver, a good NFL wide receiver, why not just go get him? He's probably cheaper than what you have acquired or someone has acquired him for last year. You can just throw some things together. You can even offer a more known commodity, but less likely to have another ceiling or a better upside, and just get Justin Watson. Sorry, not Terrell. Last one I'll talk about, the last Stash candidate, is James Washington. By no means is he going to be cheap. Is he going to be easy to acquire, or that he's on your waiver wire at all? But if he is, with the talk of AB leaving, and the last memory is of people probably can convince themselves that Big Ben doesn't like James Washington, and him not having an explosive game just yet. I mean, you could really, really do worse than taking a chance on James Washington. I don't know where I'm at yet with the rookie wide receivers, but experience matters a lot for me, and maybe I am not taking him over Calvin Harmon. Maybe I'm not taking him over A.J. Brown or N'Keal Harry or DK Metcalf. I don't know yet about DK, but at a certain point, you're going to be thinking, is James Washington is as good as advertised as he was last year, and how does he compare to this year's rookie class? Where would you have him? What would you offer to get him? Would you package something? Would you add to something just to acquire James Washington over taking a chance on an unknown commodity? Now, my mind might change as we get closer to the draft, as I become biased and influenced by all this greatness that these rookies will shine, will show. But you know, at the end of the day, you want the guy that to have the opportunity and production, and who else has opportunity and has the potential for production than James Washington in a offensive oriented Steelers right now, right? So bear that in mind. Just you know, just have a little bit more thoughts into your stash candidate. Who may be your stash candidate? I want to hear from you guys. I want to hear from what y'all think about James Washington, or what are some of the people that I presented today, and start thinking about what the costs are, and what while everyone's asleep, while everyone's waiting for something to happen, think about what you're willing to give up and to acquire them. The last thing I want to talk about, of course, is my fellow website, Fake Pigskin. I want to advertise. We have a lot of things going on. It's not just about football, but now we might even add AAF. We might even add the Alliance football to us, because it keeps us going at this Fake Pigskin site. We are a fantasy site. We focus a lot on other sports as well. You can see we have PGA articles. We have mock articles. We have baseball articles. We have rankings that will come out. So a lot of things in the work, and we're continually going. Our writers are amazing. Our content producers are continually putting out thoughts and ideas for you to contribute to your increasing successful fantasy career, if you want, or your fantasy hobbies. And at the end of the day, what the best thing, of course, everything's free. Everything is free. We thank our partner draftsite.com, and we just are very fortunate to be in partnership with them. So visit our site, and if you like things that you see, if you want to give credit to the content creators or the writers, just hit them up. They all have a Twitter handle. Hit me up if you want to talk to me about how to think about how to improve your team, how to improve your thinking around Dynasty. Again, my ideas are my own, and the way that I think about Dynasty might differ from your own, but my goal is to eventually help you develop a process that works for you, that help you find success. So I'm signing off right now. Thank you, Papa, for joining me. Thank you all for watching this show, and I hope to see you all soon. And be there and continue to sharpen that Dynasty mind, continue to develop your process.